Have you ever been desperate for money? I mean, so broke you can't count spare change? Well, when this happened, that's where I was in life, broke and searching for a job, talking to construction crews. Hell, I would have even picked up trash on the side of the road. That's how broke I was. That's when I see this ad in the paper for a job cleaning up at a local graveyard. I walk over to that place, into the door, and tell them I'm in need of work. The cemetery was run by two brothers, Chris and Ryan. Ryan was cool, but Chris gave off that to catch a predator vibe the minute I saw him. Like you just knew that he was doing something strange with those dead bodies late at night in the dark. And let me say this to you, that should have been the first sign that something was wrong. But I needed a job, so when they said I could start in 2 days, I'm like, for sure, I'll take it and get to rolling. Now listen to this. Right after I agreed to take the job, the two of them start talking and laughing, saying they figured no one would take the job. You know, like some kind of inside joke. That was the second time that I saw something that was weird, and I should have known it, but man, I was so desperate for money, I figured, you know what? I need this paper. Listen, we're talking about $14 an hour to pick up trash and clean graves and headstones. Bro, there was nowhere in my small town that you could make that type of money doing something like that. Which, looking back on all the events that occurred, leads me to this. That was another point where I should have known there was some retarded, crazy crap going on at this cemetery. But again, I needed that money. Now, the job was Tuesday through Sunday, and all I had to do was pick up paper and trash after they closed. Now, according to them, Thursday through Sundays were the days that most people visited their families. However, since the holidays were around the corner, they wanted all the headstones cleaned and scrubbed because they knew that people would be coming out to pay their respects. Listen, now that I've established why I was hired, what they wanted to do, let me get into explaining some more of the weird things that kind of stood out to me but didn't stand out to me. I know everybody's been in a situation. You kind of got rose-colored glasses on. You know it's weird. You know it's retarded. Something's wrong. But at the end of the day, you have a need that's so strong that you just ignore it. And right here in this moment is when I should have said to myself, you know what, bro, something not right. We're going to have to just let this whole situation go. Because they explained to me, listen, we want you to come in and start working 2 hours before we close, and then you'll work throughout the night cleaning the headstones and graves. Listen, down here in the South, we have this saying, you don't believe that fat meat means greasy. Well, at that point in time, I had every indication that there was some bush going on. But I didn't believe that fat meat meant greasy. Listen, Thursday rolls around, I come to the job, start picking up trash. Ryan, the cool brother, is there. He leaves early. Chris sticks around and says he has to work on a few bodies for a funeral on Saturday. Now imagine the scene. It's dark outside. I got my headlamp on. I'm cleaning headstones, and it's all good. Now, was it creepy out there? You're damn right. It was extremely creepy. But I took pride in the fact that I was taking care of the dead. Listen, I had no clue if these dead people even cared or gave a damn about what I was doing. But I figured, you know what? If I'm going to be out here at night in the dark cleaning graves, I'm not going to be disrespectful. In fact, I'm going to be as respectful as I can be because you absolutely don't know what goes on when a person dies. So imagine the scene. I'm out there cleaning graves and I start talking to the graves. The very first one I cleaned was a lady named Mary Miles. I remember telling her, Mary, looks like you had a long life and I hope it was a good one. I'm going to get this here headstone cleaned up and shiny for you. And the more I spoke to those dead people, the calmer I felt about the situation. Now I want to be clear with you. There was no voices talking back to me. It was just my way of coping with the fact that I was outside at night in the dark, cleaning graves, and the only light I had was a headlamp. That first night was easy. No weird stuff. I get out of there about 1 a.m. and I have to walk back home. On Friday, I come in. Chris says, listen, you're cleaning the newer headstones, and we're going to need you to clean the older ones on the backside. Those are the ones in the worst condition. He walks me over to that area. It's about 300 yards from where I've been doing my work. And then we get to this winding path that leads through the wood line and into the woods. We move about 40, 50 yards into the woods, and then it opens up and there's like 50, 60 graves back here isolated off in the woods. Now, dude, this place felt bad and it was broad daylight. You know how people talk about things having bad energy? Well, this was beyond bad energy. It felt evil, and Chris seemed to be sucking it all in, standing there taking in these deep breaths of air, like he was becoming sexually aroused by being in this area. That's when he looks at me and says, I want you to clean this area later this evening and into the night. I'm looking at him while he's looking at me, and I say, listen, bro, Why don't I just do this right now where there's plenty of sunlight? And this look comes over his face like he's offended, damn near angry. And he says, why? Are you scared? I'm like, nah, I'm not scared, but it makes more sense to do this because there's sunlight. Later tonight with this tree canopy, there won't be any moonlight that comes in here. It'll make it harder on me. And it'll take me more time and cost you more money to get the job done. I'm just saying it makes more sense to do this in the daytime than do it in the night. Now pause right here for a moment and let me be completely honest with you. Was I afraid? Hell yeah, I was afraid. That place was dark and spooky in the daytime. I couldn't even fathom going into that area at night. So I figured, listen, I'm going to appeal to the man's pockets. It makes sense. It's going to cost you more money if I'm here late at night working more hours to get this done. However, that logical argument went through one of his ears and out the other as he just mumbles, no, you'll do it at night. They prefer people here at night. With this psychopathic tone of voice like something from the Silence of the Lambs, turns and just walks off. Listen, Friday night rolls around. I'm in there at 7 p.m. And bro, with every passing minute, it gets worse and worse. So I start talking to the graves like I did before, trying to make myself feel better. But nothing is working. It feels like this fear is pressing down on me. And then I hear noises, heavy footsteps in the woods, and I'm like, all right, listen, this is some bull. 10 p.m. rolls around, and I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. So I head into the office with the excuse that I'm going to go take a crap and burn some time, right? This time I get in there, and Ryan, the cool brother, is there. And I tell him, Ryan, it's something weird over there in those woods. And listen to what he goes on to explain to me. He tells me that those graves are on top of other graves. That when his family bought this land years ago, they found an old Native American burial ground. And they didn't want to deal with the legal crap that came along with it, so they just started burying people in shallow graves on top of those Native American graves. So instead of digging a hole 6 to 8 feet deep, they would dig the holes 5 feet and bury bodies on top of bodies. And I'm like, holy crap. I'm standing there listening to the words coming out of Ryan's mouth, saying to myself, bro, I don't know too much about the spirit world and ghosts and monsters and demons, but I know right and wrong, and that y'all did is wrong. Now, those words didn't verbally come out of my mouth because I wanted to keep this job, but I'm standing there looking at him like he's crazy, thinking to myself, you people have lost your mind. He and I sit around shooting for about 30, 40 more minutes. I head into the bathroom, sit on a crapper, delay, waste time, and then I get out of there for the night. Listen, that night, I hatched this plan on how I'm going to work my way around this. The next morning comes around, I get there early before sunrise and wait for the sun to come up, start cleaning those graves. Saying to myself, screw this, I'm not doing it at night, no matter what anybody says. And I get through cleaning the majority of them before they open. I leave all of my supplies hidden in the woods. Then go into the building and pretend like I'm just coming to work. As soon as I walk into the door, Chris calls me into his office and he says, I know what you did. They told me they don't like people in there in the daytime. Don't do that again. Imagine a scene. He's sitting at his desk. I'm sitting in a chair opposite of him. And my mind is processing the words that came out of his mouth when he said, they told me what you did. And I'm saying to myself, okay, how do I handle this? Who in the f is they that he's talking about? And should I just tell him to kiss him and I quit? What should I do? Understand, my mind is processing all of this in that moment. And I said, listen, bro, you know it's weird back up in there in them woods. And I'm not doing that at night. So now the two of us are there arguing back and forth when Ryan, the cool brother, walks in the room and says, what's going on? I tell Ryan my concerns about how creepy and weird it is over there. And he overrides Chris saying, listen, go do it in the daytime, get it over with. We're hiring you to do a job. I don't care if you do it at nighttime, just get it done. So I head out of the door and start walking back in that direction. When I get about 100 yards away from that area, I see what looks like a giant black dog standing on 2 legs, and it's looking at me. This thing has to be 9 feet tall. It's staring me down, and I'm like, oh, hell no, 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 no. Imagine me standing there, rubbing my eyes, trying to figure out if what I'm seeing is real. And then if me seeing this thing standing there out in the open is not crazy enough, it does the craziest thing I've ever seen. And it starts to motion for me to come in that direction. Now, I would like to pause right here in this story and say this to you. I know without a doubt that you're saying to yourself, okay, this is a whole bunch of bull that this man is talking right now. And trust me, if I was you listening to this, I would agree. I would say, this is some flat out bullshit. But wait, just wait, you'll understand. So now, I'm looking at this, and I'm saying to myself, hell no, I quit this job. Nope, I'm done. I turn around, go back to the office and tell them, listen, I quit. Now remember, I don't have a vehicle. So now I got to walk back up the road to go home. So now I'm walking up the road and this thing is over to my left, walking in the woods, shadowing step by step, looking at me. And I'm saying to myself, what the fuck? But I don't feel scared at all. Am I afraid? Yes, I'm afraid because I don't know what the hell is going on. But I don't feel fear like this thing wants to hurt me. It's more like it wants something from me. So I say, listen, what do you want? Leave me alone. I'm sorry. I came to your house and did whatever I did wrong. I didn't do it intentionally. Just leave me alone. And that's when this look comes over this thing's face. Completely confused the hell out of me. Full human emotion. Like it's disappointed and hurt. So now I'm standing there saying to myself, you're going crazy. You done lost your damn mind. Screw all this. I'm going home. I start to walk home and it turns and walks back in the direction that it came from. I'm home like 45 minutes to an hour when they call me, and it's Chris, and he says, listen, you have got to come back up here. They like you and they think that I ran you off. Are you listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth? He says they like you and they think I ran you off. I remember this conversation like it was yesterday because I was sitting down on my sofa. In front of me was my coffee table with all these bills that were past due. And I have a decision to make. And I'm like, listen, bro, you, your crazy hair, your stupid ass mustache, I ain't coming back. That's when this dude starts to beg me and says, I know you need money. I'll pay you $500 just to come back up here and clean those graves. I don't care what time you do it. I don't care when you do it. Just come back up here and clean these graves. Now, there's this awkward moment of silence. I'm sitting there, phone to my face, looking at all these bills on this table, and I'm contemplating what I'm going to do. He breaks that silence by saying, listen, I know you don't have a vehicle. I'll send one of our drivers to pick you up, and he'll have the money with him. And sure enough, 15 minutes later, a car pulls up. I get in, and the guy gives me $700 and says, dude, I don't know what you did, but you need to fix it because there's all kinds of crazy going on. That's when he tells me not only was he hearing growls, but the clients that were coming to the graveyard were hearing growls coming from the woods. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, stuff inside of the office was falling off of shelves in front of customers. They were freaking out and leaving, costing the company money. And Chris told him that I'm the person that can fix it. Listen, he drives me straight to that area of the cemetery and tells me, listen, dude, I don't know what's going on, but whatever you need to do, bro, I need you to do it because I got to feed my family. Listen, I get out of that vehicle. He pulls off and drives up to the facility. Now it's me standing there right on the driveway, looking at that path that leads up into those woods. And I'm thinking to myself, what kind of crap have I gotten myself into? And as I walk down that path, it feels like I'm being watched. The deeper I get, the worse that feeling gets. But I tell myself, okay, broad daylight, you can see all around you. Go ahead and get this done. I'm down on my knees, scrubbing and cleaning those headstones. And I come to this headstone with one single name, Tai. One date, 1901. And for some reason, I start to speak to this headstone saying, Tai, listen, I don't know what's been going on, but your headstone is filthy. I'm sorry no one has come here to clean this, but I'm going to show it and you the respect it deserves. And I get to clean it. And as I'm there down on my knees cleaning that headstone, the wind begins to blow. And I'm not talking about like a regular little breeze of wind. This was a hot, dry, windless day. But the wind starts to blow so much that the treetops are shaking. And I hear those footsteps again. And when I look in the direction of those footsteps, there they are. 3 giant wolves standing on 2 legs. And they're looking at me and looking down at the grave. Looking at me, looking down at the grave. Then all 3 of them turn and walk away. I'm there for like another 30, 45 minutes, no more than an hour. Get done cleaning, walk all the way back down to the facility, go into the door, and I tell Chris, thank you for the money, and I'm getting ready to go. and this man begins to beg me to stay on his job. But after seeing what I just saw, I'm like, nah, hell no, I'm good. Then Ryan comes over and says, listen, keep the money we gave you. Just come back tomorrow. You don't have to work any nights. You don't have to do anything. Just keep the money we gave you and you work the schedule however you want to. Get this, I stay on that job for 12 months. The 4th month on that job rolls around. I come to work early and find the door broken in. And let me explain this to you so you can understand it. Turn around and look at your door frame. Wherever you're at, I don't know where you are right now, but turn around and look at your door frame. All right, there's your door that opens, right? And then there's the frame that goes around the door. What I mean by the door frame is broken, the entire wall around the frame of the door is pushed through and inside the building. Not the door itself. Everything that's bolted to the door is pushed through and on the ground inside of the building. I'm walking around trying to figure out if anybody's inside and discover Chris hiding inside one of the freezers where they kept the dead bodies. He's scared out of his mind, saying that the skinwalker wolves came in last night and tried to kill him. And when he asked why they were doing it, they talked to him and told him it was because he was violating the bodies of the dead. And let me tell you something. That was the very last time I saw Chris. After months and months and months of me asking Ryan what happened to his brother, he finally admitted that Chris was admitted to a psych ward because he had lost his mind. Now, that's my story, but let me say this to you. Based on everything that I saw while I was working there, Chris didn't lose his mind because he just lost his mind. No, those things actually came into that building after him. Now, what he was doing, I can't tell you. I never saw Chris do anything bad. I just always had a bad feeling about him. But whatever the hell he was doing, they found it to be extremely disrespectful.